like 99% of the people in the world, we are brainwashed that sugar is okay. Sugar can be eaten as part of the dietary guidelines. However, we should think twice. Hi, my name is Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo, also known as your Diet Doctora. I have written books mainly focusing on health and wellness. So this coming June, we are going to conduct an LCF masterclass, a low carb and fasting masterclass. But this time, it will be different because we will tackle 12 kinds of the most common lifestyle diseases na pwede po nating mai-improve using only natural remedies and of course, the knowledge on nutrition and incorporation of fasting. So ano po ang i-expect natin sa 21 days LCF masterclass? So each disease ay magkakaroon po ng kanyang sariling private group sa Facebook. At kapag naka-enroll na at natapos ang registration process ng isang participant, siya po ay magiging member ng isang exclusive group and at the same time, exclusive community na ito. For the next 21 days, magkakaroon ng available na 20 to 25 minutes of video na merong learning at meron din itong kasabay na habit-forming activities and exercises so that pagkatapos po sa 21 days ng bawat sakit ay hindi lang po magiging equipped sa knowledge yung participant when it comes to disease prevention, kung paano posibleng pigilan, kung paano ito pwedeng maiwasan, and lastly, kung paano ito pwedeng mai-avoid. So, our first disease is actually on diabetes. So, yung diabetes po ay yung pagtaas ng blood sugar ng abnormal na level sa tao at ito po ay nagkakaroon ng maraming komplikasyon tulad ng sakit sa kidneys, sakit sa puso, pagtaas ng cholesterol. Diabetes is basically destroying all organs of the human body. And with this 21-day masterclass, we aim to provide you with the knowledge, yung kaalaman, at of course, the practice and also the confidence na pwede pong simulan ang ating lifestyle change ng safe and natural for us to attain good health. And remember, our ultimate goal ay hindi lang po basta optimum health, but also longevity. Ang longevity po ay maa-attain na kahit sa katandaan o advanced age, we still have the energy. Meron pa rin tayong stamina at lakas tulad ng kabataan. So I hope to see you in our upcoming masterclass, and if you wish to know more, meron na pong details sa video na ito, and I hope that you will be a part of this community na hindi lang po matatapos in the coming 21 days, but it is going to be a long-term support group para po sa mga sakit na ito. See you!
Hello everybody! Happy Friday! Thank you so much for always tuning in. We have Coach Dan, and we have Coach Rosemary Villa, Charlene, Rhea, and Sir Rod Bornales from Iloilo. Wala po kayo sa Bacolod ngayon, sir. Maraming salamat po for always watching. So today, we will discuss about the common concerns concerning LCF. So instead of, I know no, na marami sa inyo are already pros and are already veteran na when it comes to this way of life, but we are also appreciating the new members of Life Without Rice and Low Carb and Feasting and Fasting community, and so we will discuss pa rin the basics. But if you have questions, since this is a Q&A episode, so it will be entertained po, okay? But for the specifics, we will discuss generalities para po yung mga beginners naman o yung ngayon pala nagsisimula, maka-learn pa rin so that they can start their journey towards health and wellness properly. Okay, so we have Annalyn watching from YouTube. We also have Marvin, Kobe, and Mary Chris. So thank you so much for always watching. And Crystalline from UK. So, good morning there. Dito hapon na. So, it's almost evening here. So, to start, what is low carb? So, generally, yung low carb po is just the name we gave, no, para mas madaling tandaan. Okay? So, low carb meaning low carbohydrate. But we are not against all carbohydrates. Okay? But we classify carbohydrates into two. So, yung isang part ng carbohydrates, ayun yung mga nagpa-spike ng insulin, okay? So, hindi lang tayo basta-basta nag-iisip lang na nakapag-spike siya ng kanyang blood sugar because looking just at blood sugar alone, hindi siya makaka-answer ng mga problems like diabetes, hypertension, and inflammation. But if we look at food, no, on their insulin effect, mas magkakaroon po ito ng mas magandang meaning. So therefore, if we are looking at insulin index, no, especially coming from carbohydrates, it will have more meaning kasi yun talaga yung may pinakamalaking impact when it comes to developing metabolic syndrome. Okay? Yung metabolic syndrome po, ito yung kondisyon na kung saan yung meron ng sobrang taas ng insulin, meron ng pagtaas ng mga blood lipids tulad ng bad lipids tulad ng triglycerides at VLDL. Tapos meron pang obesity, tumataba. Yung iba naman, wala ngang obesity, hindi nga tumataba, pero yung liver naman nila ay meron ng mga taba. So it's fatty liver. Yes, pwede pong mangyari na ang isang taong payat ay pwedeng magkaroon ng fatty liver. And no, not just that, no? Some, especially for women, it can manifest as tumors, no? So it can manifest as PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Sometimes it can manifest as myoma, endometriosis, adenomyosis. So those are different overgrowth or tumor o merong mga tumutubo na parang bukol sa reproductive organ ng kababaihan. Sometimes it represents as breast mass, mga babae, and sa mga lalaki naman, it can be prostate mass. Okay? So yun yung mga mas common sa lalaki. So tumor formation usually have underlying inflammation, and that inflammation is linked to insulin resistance. Okay? So sometimes, kasi akala natin, when we avoid the sweets alone, ay tama na. Okay? But that is the reason why, bakit like for some of our cases that we see sa low carb feasting and fasting community, before sila naging part ng Life Without Rice, ng ating community, hindi na talaga sila kumakain ng matatamis. Pero, pagkita ng kanilang laboratory, nagpa-check sila ng HbA1c, yung kanilang HbA1c ay nasa 10, 11, 12 pa din. Yung fasting blood sugar nila nasa 14. And that is equivalent to what? 180, 190, 200? And to think, nag-avoid na talaga sila ng sweets. So, saan sila nagkamali? Or saan sila pwedeng mas ma-improve? It is because we may agree na dapat talaga bawalan yung pagkain ng sugar and sweets. Pero, hindi lang doon, dapat hanggang doon lang yung paging conscious natin when it comes to our food, because there are other forms of carbohydrates that are actually pwede silang either equally or even more damaging sa ating system if ever hindi tayo aware or hindi tayo ganon ka-conscious that we are already over-consuming them. So for those of you who are already part of our community for months, yung iba pa nga sa inyo is for years na, thank you so much for always being there. Alam nyo na that these foods are the ones in our caution list. So ano na yan? Number 1 on the list would actually be fruits. So I know, no, maraming magre-react dyan, especially sa mga friends natin who are vegetarian. So hindi natin sinasabi na mali na masama yung fruits, okay? Because fruits, of course, no, kung i-compare mo yan sa, say for example, sa ice cream, mas halata namang mas nutritious yung fruits. But if you have been eating fruits, no, na may kasamang kanin, tapos kumakain ka pa ng ulam, tapos meron ka pang soft drinks, tapos meron ka pang tinapay, maya-maya magsa-snacks ka pa ulit ng sandwich. So those fruits are actually nothing more but extra carbohydrates in the form of fructose and glucose sa inyong katawan. Okay? So fruits, if you want to improve, no, if you want to improve your health, kasi yung health natin, usually it declines, nagda-decline siya because we have been into chronic harvest season. So akala ng katawan natin, harvest season pa rin. Kahit pa kasi yung kinakain mo ay tinapay na matabang, but it's still being converted into glucose and fructose sa katawan mo. So it's actually giving your body the signal na harvest season. So that fruit that you eat, no, even if it's quite nutritious, pero if it's already on top of so many other carbohydrates that you've been eating, so it's just extra sugar in the end, with some fiber, with some minerals, with some vitamins, but otherwise, yun talaga ay added lang na sugar. So we are not saying that you cannot eat fruits forever, pero if you want to heal, especially kung never ka pang nagsimulang mag-low carb, you might want to consider cutting off on fruits first, okay? Because fruits are high in fructose, and fructose is actually directly related to fatty liver. Of course, we have the high fructose corn syrup, yung parang artificial fructose na in-extract galing sa corn. Pero in general, if it's too much, like kada araw you're eating 10, 20 servings of fruits in a day, so that can still be too much, okay? So fruits, you might want to have a break with it if you want to go into low carb. Don't worry, pwede pa kayong kumain ng fruits someday soon once you are healed. Pero dapat you have to be conscious that those fruits could be local, organic, walang pesticides, and of course, no, available in their own harvest season. Hindi yung mga artificial GMO. And if you can have that, of course, you can enjoy that. Okay? So next on our list would be root crops. So yung root crops po is ito yung mga starchy, no? So matatabang, patatas, kamote, what else? Kamoteng kahoy. And other, aside from root crops, meron din po mga vegetables or fruits actually na hindi sila matamis. Okay? But they are also very starchy. So yung starch po ay isang complex carbohydrates. Meaning, isa siyang kumpul-kumpol na glucose o sugar, pero in compact form. So that's why isang maliit lang na patatas, no? Isang maliit lang na patatas, yung katumbas niya, if i-break down na siya into glucose, ay pwede siyang equivalent to about 4 or 5 teaspoons kutsarita ng asukal. So, if you do not have any problem, you're at the top of your health, masasabi mo talaga that you are very healthy, na wala kang kahit anong problema, so of course, you can eat 1 or 2 in a day. Pero if you still have some health issues, medyo tumataas yung BP, parating nagmamigraine, may sakit yung katawan, hindi makabangon from bed without help. So those are indications that you might be in inflammatory state. Medyo may pamamaga po sa katawan. Okay? And that can be a go signal for you to look into kung ano yung kinakain mo. So with root crops, it is a very starchy. So other forms of produce no na medyo starchy, you can easily go overboard, meaning madali siyang ma-overeat, would include beans, okay, certain ano pa ba, mga legumes like peanuts, so yung mani. So yung mani, it's high in protein, okay, mataas siya sa protein, mataas siya sa cholesterol, pero mataas din po siya sa starch. Okay? So, if you want to eat mani or peanuts, you make sure na wag lalagpas sa isang kamay lang, ha? So, dapat 1 palm na naka-close. Hindi yung palm na open palm na ganyan. So, cheating yan. Sobra-sobra na po yan. So, aside from the inflammatory effect ng peanuts for those people who are sensitive, is eto po ay easily high in starch na pwede pong madali nating ma-overeat. So, we have to be conscious. And lastly, among carbohydrates na we have to be wary about is actually the grains, okay? So, yung group natin, life without rice. So, we are looking at life without rice, akala ng iba, yung rice lang yung bawal. Pero ang rice po dyan sa life without rice is just symbolic. Symbol lang po yan as a representative sa tulad niyang mga pagkain na pwedeng magkaroon pa rin ng glycemic effect, meaning yung pagtaas ng blood sugar, and eventually insulin effect or pagtaas ng insulin sa katawan. Okay? So, yun po, importante. So, hindi lang rice. Yung iba dito, I know marami itong magwewelga dito. Oatmeal. What else? Yung uso-uso sa mga probinsya. Corn rice. Okay? Yung corn, yung mais. Ano pa ba? So, we also have yung iba, yung mga couscous or ano pa yon, yung mga quinoa, and what else? Marami kasi mga different types of grains eh. Now you may ask, how about brown rice? How about red rice? How about black rice? As compared to white rice, they are somewhat better, but not really better as compared to not having them. Okay? So, if you can choose between white rice and black rice or red rice, mas mataas yung fiber content and yung other content ng nutrients na nandun pa sa raw version. Okay? Yung hindi refined version. But if you compare the effect of these foods as compared to white rice, black rice, at walang rice, mas maganda pa rin talaga yung walang rice. So, it's up to you. I can answer you with that. So, kung gusto mong gumaling, pero hindi ganon ka mabilis na pagaling, so you can start with brown rice, and then red rice, and then black rice. But if you want to heal the fastest way, you might want to cut them off altogether. Okay? Hindi po tayo namimilit. We are only advocating this for those who have been eating the past dietary nutrition guidelines na still, no, yung maintenance nila, hindi pa rin bumababa. Mas dumadami at hindi lang. Noon, nagsisimula lang sa pagtaas ng blood pressure. Mamaya, after 2-3 years, tumataas na yung blood sugar. After nyan, repeat lab test, tumataas na yung cholesterol. After nyan, ano pa? Tumataas na yung uric acid. And then later on, tumataas ng SGPT. Nagpa-ultrasound. Meron ng fatty liver. So those series of events is actually not uncommon. Meaning, parati po yan. And it's actually somewhat expected if you are just depending on medicine without addressing the root cause and without emphasizing the need to improve your food intake. Okay, so low carb is focusing on the carbohydrates that are low in calories or low in calories coming from carbohydrates, so low in insulin impact and blood glucose impact. So ano yung carbohydrates na ito? So these are the green leafy vegetables and other non-starchy vegetables. So pwede yung mga cruciferous vegetables. So ano yung cruciferous vegetables? Yung cruciferous vegetables po, ito yung mga pechay, cabbage, bok choy, cauliflower, broccoli. So yun po, mga cruciferous vegetables sila. And other green leafy vegetables, so sa may nagtatanong, talbos ng root crop is okay because talbos ng root crops is already a leaf, no? Dahon na lang siya, okay? Sa mga nagtatanong naman, how about saging? So, sinabi na natin, no? Yung saging po ay fruit. So, isa siya sa number 1 actually na sa caution list natin. Kasi, yun yung idea na kapag kumain ka ng prutas, sobrang masustansya na feeling mo ang healthy mo na. Pero, there is a caveat to that. Only if you are eating fruits alone na wala ng iba, then you can maximize the fructose there as energy. But if you are taking those fruits on top of other energy sources like proteins and fats and glucose and other carbohydrates, then those fructose from fruits can just be just another extra calories sa katawan mo. And fructose has 20% more propensity in inducing fatty liver and lipid production like triglycerides as compared to other carbohydrates. I want to emphasize on carbohydrates, it is because yung iba nga, sobrang tagal na hindi nakakain ng lechon, hindi na sila nakakain ng baboy, halos lahat na lang tinola o kaya inihaw, wala na silang pinirito for the longest time. And then lo and behold, nagpa-laboratory, yung labas, sobrang taas pa rin ng triglycerides, sobrang taas pa rin ng total cholesterol, at to top it off, sobrang taas ng kanyang blood sugar. To think, hindi na siya kumakain ng cake, hindi na siya kumakain ng matatamis, hindi na siya nagkakape, okay? Except lang daw sa 3-in-1. So, yung 3-in-1 po, segue lang, yung 3-in-1, akala natin coffee, sugar and cream. Pero actually, 2-in-1 lang yan. It's coffee, sugar, and sugar. Kasi po, yung cream na yan, kung titingnan nyo, it's still made up of carbohydrates, but milk flavor. It's just a artificial creamer na taste, but it's actually mostly made up of sugar. So, coffee is wala naman yan. It's actually good sana, no? Antioxidant. So what you actually have there is just the sugar and the artificial vegetable oil, vegetable fats na nandyan sa mga coffee creamers na yan. So if you want to savor coffee, coffee alone. Okay? Coffee alone, or kung kailangan mo ng boost of energy, you can make your own bulletproof coffee, but already consider it as your part of your meal or parang open na yung eating window mo. So, merong nagtatanong about munggo. So, munggo po is a bean, no? So, part siya ng beans natin. So, mung beans, it's under our caution list because still it is very starchy. Isa talaga yan sa heartache ko kasi paborito ko rin yung munggo eh. Tapos, Friday pa ngayon, munggo day, di ba? So, pero, you can enjoy munggo siguro. So, noon, nagluluto kami isang 1/4 kilo, isang 1/2 kilo ng munggo. But now, never na talaga kami nagluto. And kung kakain man kami ng munggo, yun yung parang commercial level. Yung konti-konti lang yung munggo, tapos puro na lang sabaw lahat. And that is just like having the munggo flavor, pero wala yung real munggo. So, you can add more green leafy vegetables, talbos ng kamote. Ano ba yung ginagawa? Kangkong ba? Kangkong ba yun? Yung nilalagay na leaves sa munggo. So, pwede yon. And the way we cook munggo before talaga is munggo flavor soup, pero at least 1 kilong baboy. Okay? So, yun po yun. So, you can take munggo with caution, especially that it's high also. The proteins that it has is also a trigger factor for uric acid. Para siyang mataas sa kanyang purine derivative. So, for those who are sensitive to elevation of uric acid, and for those with gout and kidney stone, then you might want to lower that, okay? Kalimutan na muna yung munggo, especially if you're still not at the top of your health. Marami pa naman po tayong pwedeng pagkain. You can look at our safe list of food, and marami doon. If you only incorporate this with our next topic, which is intermittent fasting, hindi po kayo magsasawa. Hindi po kayo makaka-feel na parang kulang yung pagkain nyo. Because the trick there, if you do intermittent fasting, your time to eat, no, you will savor it so much na parang isipin mo na kahit anong pagkain ay sobrang sarap na sarap ka na. Kasi nga, with intermittent fasting, your time window of eating is limited, and you get to appreciate real food there. Okay? So, may nagtatanong, malunggay, of course, dahon naman yan. Ampalaya is okay din. Okay? The less sweet it is, the less starchy, yung walang linamnam masyado. So actually, it's mostly made up of fibers and vitamins and minerals that are all good for you. Okay? Adlay rice, you can look at it. Mataas yung fiber content niya. Of course, it has lower glycemic index as compared to rice, no? But it still has carbohydrates. Net carbohydrates po ng adlay is still high as compared to none, or as compared. So, a cup of adlay siguro, parang ano yan, parang 40, around 40 yung kanyang glycemic index. So, considered siya as low glycemic index kasi yung impact niya sa iyong blood sugar as compared to consuming full glucose, no, o yung white sugar talaga, eh medyo kalahati. But it doesn't mean that it's actually not going to rise your blood sugar. Yung ibig sabihin lang yan, slowly yung pagtaas niya. Pero eventually, tataas pa rin. And yes, quantity matters. The problem with eating rice alternatives like adlay and quinoa is yung mga taong kumakain nito, akala nila, unlimited na. Okay? But if they are looking at that, no? Sometimes they overeat this, no? Especially yung maraming budget, yung hindi nag-iisip. Kasi kung ako lang, sobrang mahal naman ng adlay at ng quinoa, no? Para sa ganun lang kaunti. And then you still have to convince yourself that it's somewhat rice. So, what we actually do is we never just look for rice alternative. We just be happy na ngayon, ulam na lang yung kakainin namin. So with ulam, it's more savory, it's more delicious, na hindi na kailangan pa i-neutralize ito. Of course, adjusting your cooking is also important kasi yung iba, sobrang sarap pagluto, pero yung isip na natin, just like my friend, no, who is now living in the States, and she married, her husband is American. Tapos kapag kumakain sila ng family ng husband niya, kapag masarap daw ng luto, sabi niya, oh my God, it's so good. Tapos yung sinasagot sa kanya, yes, I know, it's so good with rice. Kasi yun talaga yung Pinoy. Kapag yung pagkain ay sobrang sarap, parang iisipin talaga natin, ang sarap-sarap nito kapag may kanin. But actually, that is just a mindset. And for those of you who are able to overcome that mindset, congratulations po. Because that's already what I usually say, 75% of the work. That's mindset. And the other 25%, and that's we wish to cover with our live Q&A episodes and our groups, and of course, our masterclass para po ma-make sure natin that you are doing it right. Okay? So, adlay rice, be conscious, no? Pero kung kakain ka, for example, ng half cup lang ng adlay rice in a day, that's okay. That's just about 20 grams. That's just about 20 grams of carbohydrates. Pasok naman siya sa budget. But if you want to really fill in, you'd rather want to eat more stuffy, no? Yung parang mas may bulk sa tiyan mo, pero walang masyadong impact. So, say for example, yung 20 grams na yan na adlay, 20 grams of carbohydrate na nasa half cup of adlay rice, can be equivalent to around mga more than half kilo of pechay, of cabbage, of bok choy, ganon ka grabe, ganon ka ang equivalent nila when it comes to those non-starchy vegetables, because those non-starchy vegetables are very rich in fiber, mataas yung water content niya, at mataas din yung vitamins and minerals content niya, but sobrang baba ng kanyang overall carbohydrate content. Okay? So green papaya, hindi hinog, of course, it has lower carbohydrates, lower sugar, okay? Lower sugar as compared to luto. Okay? So yung hinog na. So with green papaya, you can check kung ano yung kanyang overall carbohydrate content. But it's usually, kapag hindi pa siya luto, sometimes it's high in starch, okay? Kung hilaw siya, it can be resistant starch. So resistant starch, ito po yung mga kind of complex carbohydrate na starch na hindi masyadong natutunaw. Hindi natin kayang i-digest. So the problem with eating green papaya na hilaw, na hindi niluluto, is pwede kang magka-indigestion. Kung hindi ka sensitive and if you feel like you are constipated and you can benefit from extra bulk and extra indigestion kumbaga or mobility ng iyong tiyan, maybe you can add that. But green papaya, especially kapag niluluto na in our tinola, yung mga ganyan, it can still have carbohydrates but not from sugar and fructose but from starch na mabe-breakdown din when you eat it kapag luto na. But of course, quantity matters, okay? If you are not consuming the whole papaya, of course, you can accommodate that. And that is still better as compared to tinapay or bread, di ba? So, you have to be aware yung total carbohydrate impact niyan. And one way to do that is, that's why we recommend on blood sugar monitoring, especially if you are still new, so that you will know, malalaman nyo po kung ano yung impact ng inyong kinakain sa inyong katawan. Kasi iba-iba po yan, okay? So what we try to give you is yung mga average lang, okay? These are just average numbers, okay? But kahit nga kami, among us siblings, kahit magkakapatid kami, pareho kami ng kinain, pero magkaiba yung effects of blood sugar sa amin individually. So you have to know your response, and para ganyan po, hindi nyo na kailangan makinig sa akin. You can already listen to your body at malalaman mo kung ano yung mga pagkain na nakakapag-spike ng iyong blood sugar at ano yung walang spike ng blood sugar. So, coffee with skim milk, stevia, doc, you can take that. Ang milk generally nasa 10 to 20, depende. No? So, yung full cream milk, nasa 12 grams yan per serving per 100 ml. So, yung 100 ml po, parang isa lang siyang, ano ba? So, yung 1 cup is usually 240 ml eh. So, half cup lang yan. Meron ka ng mga 12 grams of net carbohydrates. Okay? So, yung net carbohydrates, yun yung total impact ng pagkain sa iyong katawan as comparison to sugar. So, 12 grams would be like 3 teaspoons of white sugar. Although, the spike will not be that immediate, pero yung overall total impact ay magkakaroon ng ganun pa din. So if nababudget mo yan, or say for example, yung skim milk mo, isang kutsara lang naman, so of course you can add that. And with stevia and sweeteners, what we usually recommend is for you to have that during your eating window, okay? So tofu is special kasi nasa caution list natin siya because it's low carb. It's almost 100% pure proteins, no? Wala siyang actually halos zero carbohydrate lang. But the problem with tofu, it is made from GMO soy products. And soy products is one of the most common inflammatory effects. Although hindi lahat sensitive sa soy na inflammatory effect, but for the safety and concern ng ating mga patients and our community members who are healing for more serious reason, we put soy and tofu and other soy products on the caution list kasi hindi siya pwedeng pang-unlimited, okay? From time to time, siguro once a month, once every 2 weeks, baka pwede naman. You can benefit that sa tinatawag nating hormesis, okay? So, yung idea na what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. So, parang ini-exercise mo yung katawan mo na ma-expose sa mga ganitong anti-nutrient from time to time para lang hindi naman siya sobrang masanay na wala talagang kinakain kung ano-ano. But anyway, with fasting, especially with intermittent fasting, since hindi talaga pwedeng magawa na perfect yung kinakain natin, walang inflammation, walang kahit anong extra sugar, walang toxic oils, we know that that is somewhat impossible. So that is why we always do low carb together with intermittent fasting. Kasi with intermittent fasting, kung meron man mga extra-extra na tayong nako-consume with our nutrition na hindi masyadong perfect, it can be accommodated. It can be accommodated and cleansed, no? The best detoxifier pa din would be our fasting window. So that's why it's important for us to recognize that we should be fasting every day. And as what one of our admins, Earl, emphasized, no, we want to make sure that alam ninyo that actually when you are sleeping, you are already fasting. But for the benefit of health, no, we would like to extend it to a point na kaya natin, to a point na masusustain natin for it to be more effective when it comes to cleansing our colon, cleansing our liver, cleansing our kidneys. Ito po ay pahinga para sa ating liver and sa ating kidneys so that it can maintain its function well. Kahit pa nagsusupplements ka dyan kung minsan, especially that we can never be sure kung gano'n ka-safe yung supplements na tinitake natin. Hindi rin nga ako sure yung mga supplements na tinitake ko is organic talaga o ano, kasi beggars can't be choosers. Binibigyan lang naman ako ng aming auntie, ng aming mga relatives na nagbibigay sa amin ng supplements. So usually, tinatake ko lang yung nandyan. Pero that's the reason why hindi tayo masyadong nag-worry onto the nitty-gritty details talaga. Kasi if i-worry natin ganyan, baka yung stress level natin, yun pa yung makakapagpataas ng ating blood sugar. So no, chill lang tayo. But we have intermittent fasting pair up with low-carb nutrition para kung meron mang hindi ma-perfect sa kinakain natin, we can make sure that our intermittent fasting will be there to cleanse whatever extra toxins na nasa stock on a day-to-day basis. So to start, 12-12, we divide our day into 2 hours. So yung isang hour would be the eating window and the other hour would be the fasting window. So 12-12, 12 hours fasting, 12 hours eating window. So hindi ibig sabihin na pagpatak pa lang ng 12:01, kakain ka na talaga the whole time. Of course not. You can still eat just 2 times a day, 3 times a day, or even 4 times a day kapag nagsisimula ka pa lang. Okay? But the idea is you have to make sure na merong break yung araw, yung in a day, yung tiyan mo na wala masyadong tinatrabaho. So 12-12 eating window, for example, 6 p.m. because you want to do circadian fasting. By 6 p.m. tapos ka nang kumain, so close na yung window mo. So from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., you are already on the 12 hours of fasting. At kung early bird ka, alas 6 pa lang, gising ka na at gutom ka na, then you can eat. And then you can eat again normally on lunchtime and then afternoon snacks maybe and dinner. But if you want to improve more on your health benefits, no, you can actually consider doing extended yung fasting mo. You extend it. So say for example, you start with 14 hours. So instead of eating for around 6 in the morning, maybe you can extend it around 8 o'clock. So pwede kang matulog pa muna, pwede kang mag-exercise, pwede rin mag-Facebook ka muna dyan, or mag-meditate ka. So, you do whatever that you need to do in that time para mas ma-prolong mo yung eating window mo. And if you can, no, later on, if you can move it to 9 o'clock in the morning, so actually 15 hours na yun. So, that's already 15-9. And if you can move it to 10 o'clock para diretso, break time, coffee time sa opisina o sa trabaho. So, you are already experiencing 16-8 fasting window. So, yun po yung basic nun. And for those naman who want to improve their health pa, we actually advise doing 16-8 or 18-6 circadian fasting. That is, sabay nyo na po yung breakfast at brunch ninyo around 12 noon, and then you can still have a light snacks in the middle of the afternoon, and then pagkagabi po, before 6 p.m., tapos na po kayong mag-dinner. And yes, we still believe na pwede po na breakfast like a king, tapos lunch like, ano ba yan, and dinner like a pauper, okay? Like a prince pala yung lunch, okay? So, breakfast like a king, damihan yung pagkain ng breakfast, especially prioritize proteins. Yung proteins po, ito yung parang parang premium kumbaga among the macronutrients, okay? Because it is convertible into glucose, is convertible into fats, it is convertible into energy, it is convertible into muscles and the primary building blocks ng katawan natin, which is amino acid, okay? So increase protein on your breakfast. And then kapag meron pa kayong in-between meals or parang snacks or lunch time na in the middle of the day, you can eat there your vegetables, your avocado, and pwedeng kunting bacon or butter. But if dinner, we actually would like you to eat like a popper in a way na meaning you can have your dinner lighter. Kung wala naman kayong problema with sugar control at saka goal weight na kayo, then you can just eat a salad, okay? But if you have problems with blood sugar na nag-fluctuate, we actually recommend you eating light dinner but protein rich, okay? With experience, it stabilizes blood sugar overnight na hindi po siya nagda-drop down. Kasi kapag sobra pong konti o wala na kayong kinain before eating, especially for those who are still diabetic or nag-a-adjust pala na kanilang mga gamot, pwedeng mangyari is while natutulog kayo, ay nagkaroon kayo ng hypoglycemia. Yung bumagsak masyado yung inyong blood sugar, especially for those who are still taking medications, at nagkakaroon ito ng stress response sa katawan. And by the morning, pagising nyo, yon shoot up na naman yung inyong blood sugar. So one way to correct that is to eat protein. Ang ginagawa po kasi ng protein, yung protein is special kasi meron siyang insulin effect. It's insulinogenic, okay? So nagpapataas siya ng insulin but stable level, hindi yung spike. So stable insulin but without sugar spike. So yung with stable insulin, enough lang po na makakapasok lang yung sugar sa inyong cells kung kailangan. It's also will just maintain a normal blood sugar level. Because kahit po wala kayong carbohydrates na kinain, your body is capable of producing blood sugar through the form of gluconeogenesis galing po sa liver ninyo. And with the right amount of insulin, pwedeng hindi sila mag-spike up because the insulin will keep it on a stable, normal level of 70 to 100 while fasting and up to 120 after eating. Okay? So toge or mongo sprouts, no, is actually quite low carb in moderation. Okay? Kasi from that, it becomes fibrous. Meron siyang protein content, but meron na rin siyang carbohydrate content. So maybe a cup. Hindi ka naman siguro makakaubos ng mga kalahating kilo or 1/4 kilo ng toge. So just incidental. Okay lang naman. Okay? So what else? So let's see. What if, ano to? I have morning maintenance medications which should be taken before and after breakfast. Can I still take my medications while doing fasting? So for specific medical condition, a proper consultation is advised. And I suggest you join our masterclass, especially yung mga disease-specific na masterclass, because we will tackle there how to properly address maintenance medication. So of course, you follow your doctor's advice. But in general, usually, yung binibigay sa inyo na morning meals, no? Morning medicines is under the premise na kakain ka talaga ng breakfast. But sa totoo lang, if you're gonna take breakfast late, then actually pwede na yung gamot po, yun po yung mag-a-adjust at hindi tayo ang kailangan mag-adjust sa gamot. But of course, again, it's best to consult your doctor kasi iba-iba po yung gamot. Okay? Kasi yung iba, baka kung inumin mo siya, baka mag-hypoglycemia ka, especially if it's a medication to lower down sugar, or if it's a medication that will lower down your blood pressure, baka mas mag-hypotension ka, mas bumagsak at manghilo ka dyan at kung ano pa mangyari sa iyo. So of course, it should be guided. Maraming gamot, meron namang ibang gamot na should be taken on an empty stomach with or without food. So sinasabi lang na at least 30 minutes, so that's at least minimum. So if lumagpas ka, actually okay lang. But there are hundreds and thousands of medications na kailangan specific po malaman natin. So I invite you to consult any of our LCF practitioners. We have Doc Fee, we have Doc Mike, Doc Suzette, Doc Iggy, we have Doc Lisel. Marami na po tayo ngayon, doctor, who are also accepting consultations for LCF, and pwede naman po magpabook doon. Or you can join our masterclass and include, kasi nadidiscuss natin yan in our exclusive groups, which is no hold bars. We can discuss everything there. It is a safe community for everyone. So next would be Hannah. Medyo off topic po, I have hyperthyroidism po, pero sa ngayon po, normal ang labs ko, 5'5", 52 kilos. My doctor advised me to take Apiton weight gain. Is it necessary or pwede naman po hindi? So 5'5", for 52 kilos, medyo payat na talaga yan. So, babae si Hana, no? So, sa babae, parang ano lang yan, draft. 5'5", 55 kilos average, okay? Or parang pinaka-fit na yan. So, plus minus 5 kilos of that is actually somewhat acceptable, okay? So, 52 kilos, medyo more on the model side ka na, okay? So, it's good and it's up to you. Apiton weight gain, it's an appetite stimulant, no? Mas gagana ka sa pagkain. You can take that, you may not take that, but what is important is what you choose to eat. And with weight gain, what kind of weight gain are you looking for? Hindi lang tayo basta-basta after lang sa superficial na pabigat. Useless po kung bibigat kayo kung puro lang naman taba. Unless you are going to live in Australia, saan ba? In Canada or in Alaska or North Pole na kailangan nyo talaga ng taba para hindi kayo ginawin masyado. But actually, if you wish to gain weight, the best way to do it is to gain weight by gaining muscle mass, increasing muscle mass. So yun actually yung better. Increasing muscle mass through exercise and increased protein intake, okay? Yun po yung best way for you to improve your weight when it comes to composition. Mas maganda po yung muscle, yung lalaki at hindi lang po yung taba. And most importantly, that muscle mass can increase your metabolism, and with exercise, your tendencies to surpass any stressor, kahit sakit pa yan, mag-pneumonia ka man, isang gamot lang, kahit hindi ka kailangan i-admit, pwede kang gumaling. So that's the kind of endurance na nakukuha natin with exercise and with increased muscle mass, kasi mas maganda yung ating capacity to overcome any stressors, including illness. Okay? So hello Annie, in watching in YouTube, how to manage hair loss, doc. So it's one of the discussions we did last time. Hair loss is usually coming from mistakenly doing low calorie, low carb. Okay? You are not eating enough nutrients. So it's good sana if you can join the masterclass para mas malaman mo talaga how to improve your food eating na hindi lang basta. Because first step is doing low carb. But the next priority is eating nutrient-dense foods, okay? Mataas sa vitamins, mataas sa minerals without increasing your carbohydrate content. And of course, making sure that you eat enough, okay? Hindi kailangan mag-super worry on weight loss, on the effect of the calories per se, especially when it comes to healing, okay? Your body will just normalize kung ano yung point na kung saan siya magiging best functioning, okay? But importante na you are not eating enough. Chronic low intake of calories, hindi rin po maganda. We are suggesting for you to do intermittent fasting, therapeutic fasting, and low carb, but these are not to be mistaken as chronic low calorie intake or starvation. Otherwise, gusto nating fasting pero hindi pwede na forever tayo nagpa-fasting. There should be enough time to give our body the assurance na hindi na ito starvation period. And one way to give that assurance is to eat more nutrient-dense foods, bulk up on good proteins, especially coming from animal proteins, fish, pork, chicken, beef, eggs, all kinds of seafood, all those. Kung vegetarian naman or vegan, pwedeng more on iba't ibang klaseng mushrooms. So, lahat ng klaseng mushrooms, marami naman dyan. At iba-iba din yung lasa nila at yung consistency nila. So, maybe that can mimic also. But you have to take in more. Medyo mahirap makuha lahat ng nutrients. You really have to plan yourself. It's not impossible. It's not impossible for vegetarian or vegan to get all the nutrients that they need, but it's just going to be challenging. So, yun po. But with hair loss, it's mostly decreasing nutrient density sa inyong kinakain. Maybe Monday, we will discuss more on how to fortify our foods, okay? How to, mga hacks kung paano natin mai-improve yung mga nutrient contents ng mga pagkain natin para hindi tayo magkaroon ng malnourishment and other undernourishment signals like hair loss, pangangayayat, sobrang payat, yung iba naman sinasabihan na ang dry na daw, and all those. Okay? So, how many times pwede i-drink ang chia seeds in a day? Would it be better chia seeds plus IF? So, yung chia seeds po, is just actually mostly fiber. Meron din siyang omega-3, and some degree of proteins, but it's effect talaga when it comes to parang tinawag siyang superfood kasi napupuno yung tiyan mo kasi nga nag-expand siya. Okay? But we shouldn't mistaken chia seeds as the end all be all miracle low carb food na secret food na kailangan natin. Pwede tayong mag-thrive sa low carb kahit hindi tayo mag-take in ng chia seeds. Okay? But with chia seeds, 1 tablespoon is already enough. Sometimes nga you have to be careful kasi sa iba, it can actually lead to into constipation kasi grabe siya maka-hold on din, makakapag-increase ng iyong stall bulk, and sometimes if you are not eating enough water, drinking enough water with it, pwede siya mag-lead to constipation. So 1 tablespoon is already enough. Unless you are really looking into lowering your food intake and para mapadali yung weight loss or whatever your goal is. But generally, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds is already enough. Pwede po bang sana yan? Bakit nag-stall weight na ako at gaining even protein na diet ko? Okay, so with that, I suggest you have a body composition analyzer na weighing scale. Medyo pricey lang siya ng konti, but it's worth the investment, especially if you're really looking into your food intake, okay? Kasi with protein diet, pwedeng tumaas yung timbang mo, but for all you know, you are losing fats. You are losing water weight and fat weight, but you are gaining muscle mass. And actually, that is not a bad thing at all. In fact, with our masterclass, you can learn that there are many other gauges of improvement. Hindi kailangan mag-focusan tayo sa weight. Weight is just the first and very superficial reason. And as long as nasa range ka ng normal and you feel good, actually, mas better to notice other things. Like, so for example, ako, mas mabigat ako ngayon from my weight siguro last year. Pero I know I'm not really gaining kasi yung ring ko, madali lang makuha. But otherwise, before, sobrang sikip. Masikip ito. But those are just one of the gauges. So you don't need to stress so much on weight alone. You listen more to your body. Another way to show it would be your waistline. Okay, so yung waistline natin, sinasabi natin yan parate, that yung pusod level na waistline should not be more than 50% of your height. So kung yung height mo is 5, no? So 5 is 60. So dapat yung waistline mo sa pusod, hindi lalagpas ng 30. Otherwise, more than that is already a risk for cardiovascular disease. Okay? So, si Angelita, pwede po bang inumin everyday ang electrolytes powder? 7 gram BCCA, thank you po. So, BCCA is branched chain amino acid. So, yung effect niya, para pa ring protein. So, of course, you can take that everyday provided that you already consider it as part of your meal. Okay? What else? So, how many times to do 16-8 IF? So, maybe, Madam Diana, first time niyo pa po, kasi you need to really count. So, at minimum, sabi is by Dr. Jason Fung, at least 5 times a week na nagsi-16-8. Okay? Pero for us, with our community enlarging, actually, fasting as you move into this lifestyle, hindi mo na kailangan magbilang. Maybe if you can continuously do it for a month, and then you can even slowly try to throw in 18-6 or a longer fast sometimes, you will be appetite corrected to a point na hindi ka na kailangan magbilang. You just listen to your body at kapag pakiramdaman mo na, nagutom ka na, baka masurpresa ka lang. It's already 18 hours, it's already 20 hours from your last meal intake. Okay? So, yun po yun. It's up to your goal, it's up to your health goals and what you want to achieve with your fasting schedule. But generally, 16-8 is good for maintenance, okay? With our experience, it's good for maintenance and for those who are already reaching their weight. Pero for those naman who are still losing weight despite 16-8, so pwede po mag-lower down into 14-10, okay? Sa iba na sobrang payat na talaga. And I suggest again, you prioritize your protein intake with your daily meals. What else? So, sana, kailangan ba mag-take ng 8 or more glasses a day of water? So, water is a function of your body's needs for thirst, no? Whenever you feel thirsty, you can drink water. But one caveat when it comes to water is you take it when you are most active. Hindi kailangan, kasi walang kwenta kapag sinasabi mo mag-8 8 glasses of water ka, pero nakalimutan mo kasi sobrang busy ka the whole day, at nung gabi na, tapos ka na magtrabaho, doon ka na uminom ng 8 glasses of water. That is too much water for your kidneys. Kaya after nyan, iihi mo lang din lahat. So the best way to drink water is to drink it in sips, in little forms, throughout the day when you are most active. Pagkagising mo sa umaga, and before you go to sleep, and when it comes to before going to sleep, 2 hours before going to sleep is our sweet spot, kumbaga. So that we really have a time, no, that we allot for our kidneys to also rest. Or else, if you still drink a bottle of water before you go to sleep, you are risking yourselves of having not a well-rested quality sleep. Kasi gigisingin ka pa in the middle of the night para umihi lang. Okay? But if you have that excess thirst, no, sobrang uhaw na uhaw ka talaga, I suggest you have your blood sugar check, kasi those could be one of the signs of polydipsia and polyuria, which is consistent with diabetes mellitus. Okay? So what else? Do we still have time? Sige, we still have time for other questions. Would you like to have Q&A na lang Monday, Wednesday, if we, para mas masagot natin yung mga questions niyo. So, Zer J, hello po Doc, pwede po bang mag-take ng vitamin C, collagen supplements, LCIF, ano pong vitamins I need? Take po, window. Okay, so vitamins and minerals, best taken during your eating window because it is just supplement. Okay? So, when it is supplement, yun po ay importante lang, pang-add lang sa kinakain mo na. You can watch our episode from last week, last Wednesday pala, we discussed on the supplements that are usually declining with LCIF. So, you just have to make sure that you take all those. As a recap, electrolytes, sodium, potassium, sodium chloride, to some extent, magnesium, calcium, B vitamins kapag hindi ka masyadong kumakain ng red meat or mga organ meats, pwede kang mag-fish oil, wala kang sources ng omega-3. What else? Pwede kang mag-iron kung wala kang sources ng iron from red meat and organ meats. But of course, we want to make sure na sana you get it from natural sources. And vitamin C and collagen is actually can be made by our body. Tawag dito, non-essential. Okay? When we say that a certain vitamin is non-essential, meaning kayang gawin to ng katawan natin. Okay? Even without supplementation. Okay? So, collagen can be made from proteins plus vitamin C, plus ascorbic acid. Makakagawa ng collagen yung katawan natin. But of course, no, with low carb, sometimes nalilimit yung pagkain natin ng green leafy vegetables and all of those vegetables where we can naturally get vitamin C. So, supplementing them is already okay. But make sure na hindi rin kailangan sobrang dami. Usually, vitamin C is in 500 milligram form, pero yung RDA ng vitamin C is actually just 50 milligrams. Unless you have COVID or binigay sa inyo ng doktor na mag-high dose vitamin C kayo or meron kayong certain indications that you need to take high dose vitamin C, actually there is no need. So usually, multivitamins, meron na yung 50 milligram of vitamin C, so makikita mo na dyan, 100%, because that's already the RDA. And collagen is good to help, especially if you are not eating collagen-rich foods like mga chicken skin, chicharon, yung mga cartilage, yung mga bones, no, bone broth, those are very rich in collagen. You can take that, especially if you have problem about sagging skin and all those. But if you only become patient, actually, when autophagy kicks in, kahit yung iba na bigla-biglang bumagsak yung timbang at para nangangayayat, tapos yung skin nila is sagging na, don't worry, with autophagy kicking in, eventually matutone up lang yan. And you will start noticing kapag marami na nagsasabi sa inyo na mas bumabata kayo over time. So, ilan na ba sa inyo nakatanggap ng ganyang comments? I know a lot already. So, does ACV coconut sap vinegar have benefits? So, I think we already made a post about this. ACV coconut sap vinegar, the active ingredient there is acetic acid. Okay? So, yung vinegar lang. So, actually, generally, all vinegars are okay. So, but with ACV, you get the vitamins and minerals na nasa apple concentrate without the sugar. Okay? Pero, if we compare it with coconut sap vinegar, apple cider vinegar is very, very inferior. So, yes, sabihin mo na nilang bias tayo. But actually, coconut sap vinegar is very nutritious. Okay? Kung ang apple is yung bunga na lang, yung coconut sap vinegar, galing po yan sa, anong tawag doon? yung parang yung parang main trunk kung saan tumutubo yung mga bunga. So that's why it is very nutrient dense. Coconut sap, vinegar is yun yung naging vinegar, no? Pero alam nyo ba na ang cocoa aminos is actually from a concentrated form of coconut sap before pa siya naging vinegar. So that's why it's labeled as cocoa aminos because it is also very high in amino acids. So amino acids, ano nga yun? Those are building blocks in creation of protein. So actually, cocoa sap vinegar is really, really good. And coconut water acceptable in LCFF. For those who are still healing, you might want to avoid that because per cup of that would give you about 2 teaspoons of sugar. Parang nasa 8 to 10 grams yan of net carbs, no? So it's up to you. So if that's the only carbohydrate that you will consume in a day, okay naman. So yung sinasabi natin is that we want to consume carbohydrates that are more satisfying, more filling, and also more nutrient dense, okay? But if that's your only source, coconut water as compared, for example, to artificial na mga drinks, no? Na mga ibang energy drinks dyan na mataas din sa sugar. Yes, coconut water is way better. Mataas yung protein, mataas yung potassium level niya, and also meron pa siyang ibang minerals, and also it's more natural. Pero not because it's natural, not because it has potassium, mag-unlimited ka na, mag-1 litro ka na ng coconut water. That will give you too much fructose and too much sugar still. Okay? So it's now 7 o'clock in the evening. Thank you so much, guys, for all of you who are watching. We reached more than 250 of live viewers today. Meron lang nag-angry face, siguro dahil to sa fruits. Nasaktan siguro siya when we talk about fruits na na bawal. Hindi naman po bawal. You can enjoy fruits again once you are at the top of your health. Yung balik ka na po sa inyong healthy, na masasabi mo na that you are 100% okay. And how about 0-calorie diet soft drinks? You can check our post about that. Yung etong mga drinks na po ito is wala talagang nutritional value. It will only create unnecessary, unnatural cravings sa brain natin, which will actually, by research, tend to make us eat more than what we need because of that insatiable cravings. Okay? So, last na lang, meron pa, barley. So, barley wheat, no. Barley grass, pwede. Okay? Because barley grass is just made up of fibers and nutrients and vitamins. So, pwede naman po. Just take them on your eating window para hindi po ma-break yung fast ninyo. Okay? So, thank you so much, everybody. For those of you who wish to join our masterclass, we have upcoming disease-specific masterclass. Yung live po ng diabetes natin natapos na, but ang ating hypertension and the other 11 diseases ay open po for pre-registration. So pre-registration will have discounted rates. If you wish to know more, just contact Alvin Chua Rojo, our clinic manager, or admin Angela Rojo. And for details, ito po yung ating video for that. Maraming salamat po. I'll see you again this Monday, and I hope you will have a great weekend ahead. Good night. Thank you.
It's like 99% of the people in the world. We are brainwashed that sugar is okay. Sugar can be eaten as part of the dietary guidelines. However, we should think twice. Hi, my name is Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo, also known as your Diet Doctora. I have written books mainly focusing on health and wellness. So this coming June, we are going to conduct an LCF masterclass, a low carb and fasting masterclass. But this time, it will be different because we will tackle 12 kinds of the most common lifestyle diseases na pwede po nating mai-improve using only natural remedies and of course, the knowledge on nutrition and incorporation of fasting. So ano po ang i-expect natin sa 21 days LCF masterclass? So each disease ay magkakaroon po ng kanyang sariling private group sa Facebook. At kapag naka-enroll na at natapos ang registration process ng isang participant, siya po ay magiging member ng isang exclusive group and at the same time, exclusive community na ito. For the next 21 days, magkakaroon ng available na 20 to 25 minutes of video na merong learning at meron din itong kasabay na habit-forming activities and exercises so that pagkatapos po sa 21 days ng bawat sakit ay hindi lang po magiging equipped sa knowledge. yung participant when it comes to disease prevention, kung paano posibleng pigilan, kung paano ito pwedeng maiwasan, and lastly, kung paano ito pwedeng mai-avoid. So, our first disease is actually on diabetes. So, yung diabetes po ay yung pagtaas ng blood sugar ng abnormal na level sa tao, at ito po ay nagkakaroon ng maraming komplikasyon tulad ng sakit sa kidneys, sakit sa puso, pagtaas ng cholesterol. Diabetes is basically destroying all all organs of the human body. And with this 21-day masterclass, we aim to provide you with the knowledge, yung kaalaman, at of course, the practice and also the confidence na pwede pong simulan ang ating lifestyle change ng safe and natural for us to attain good health. And remember, our ultimate goal ay hindi lang po basta optimum health, but also longevity. Ang longevity po ay maa-attain na kahit sa katandaan o advanced age, we still have the energy. Meron pa rin tayong stamina at lakas tulad ng kabataan. So, I hope to see you in our upcoming masterclass. And if you wish to know more, meron na pong details sa video na ito. And I hope that you will be a part of this community na hindi lang po matatapos in the coming 21 days, but it is going to be a long-term support group para po sa mga sakit na ito. See you!
May draw, sa data.